Well, when I started listening to music, I probably would. What I started listening to first was metal. Heavy metal is what I got into at first. Bands more like Black Sabbath, AC/DC, Iron Maiden, bigger bands. I was probably about, I want to say 10 years old, about 10 years old. And the shows I used to go to were bigger shows, of course. Kiss, all those type of stuff, Iron Maiden, whatever. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I don't really remember my first big show. It's been so long, my memory's not as good as it was. But I think my first metal show might have been Kiss, maybe even. I'm not really too sure, but mostly at the Long Beach Arena, where most of my shows were. Long Beach Arena, the Forum, Santa Monica Civic. I listened to a lot of that stuff probably for about 5 years, maybe 4 years, 6 years, around there. Then I transitioned into punk. Probably I got into punk about 15. Um, I don't know if that's old, young, or just, but I feel it was kind of a little old, kind of. I thought I was young. I mean, I was about 15. And I got into punk. I had some neighbors. They were a little older than me. They were into punk. They were the ones going to a show. They invited me, and from a punk show to a metal show was probably a lot different. You know what I mean? Way different. You know what I mean? A lot of the metal shows you were sitting seated. You know what I mean? I guess if you were lucky and get on the floor, but you were mostly seated. And a punk show you weren't, and it was just more intense. You got to hang out with the band. Where metal show, they were good, and I still, today I like them, but those are more like rock stars. You know what I mean? You don't get to hang out with the band, and everybody there is more like, not everybody, but a lot of people are worshiping the band. You know what I mean? And it was punk show was you get to associate with the band more. Hang out with them. You know what I mean? And come to find out, they're just like you. You know what I mean? And that's what I enjoyed, and it was just more intensified. And I was actually my first show, the punk show I went to was a Dead Candy show in '83. I was just blown away by all that. You know what I mean? It was just like really intense. I mean, skinheads, people there with mohawks, wearing boots, and you know what I mean. And I got into it because I seen that, and that's what I wanted to be. You know what I mean? That's what I liked. You know what I mean? What was going on around in my neighborhood was at the time was a lot of gangs. A lot of gangs. I mean, if you were in the gang, you were cool. You know what I mean? You were one of the in crowd. You were popular. You would have a lot of girlfriends, and you just that's what you had. It came along with it. It's just like a lot of people say. The old myth is when a lot of kids look up to people that sell drugs and all that. They make money. That's what they want to become. But what was in my neighborhood was that, and that's what everybody was. From fathers to sons to cousins and stuff. And a lot of people in my family were that's what they were. Fathers, my father, my uncles and cousins, and it's not what I wanted. I didn't. To me, that was like they were all the same. It was like they were robots, or they just looked all the same to me. Everybody dressed the same, act the same, talked the same. And when I went to a metal show, even everybody was different. You know what I mean? Some people had long hair, short hair. Some people wear concert shirts, who dressed different, whatever. But that's what I liked. I didn't want to look like everybody. And the punk scene was even more. You didn't look like everybody. Some people were going in suits, or just dressing casual. Some people wearing Doc Martens, suspenders, bomber jackets, had mohawks, and just everybody's different. And nobody made fun of you, how you looked, or stared at you. So that's what I wanted to be like. As I was young, I wanted to be different. And music was different. It wasn't what everyone listens to rap. And not that rap's not good, but just everyone listens to it. So it's popular, you know what I mean? So it plays on the radio, oldies. Oldies are good too. I listen to both. Not as it's not my preferred music, but You know, it's good music, but it's just popular. You know, everybody won't listens to it. You know, and usually people would always question you when you listen to punk or metal, like, why you listen to that? Because it's not cool. You know what I mean? It's not what's in. You know, and it doesn't make you cool. It's like if you listen to it, you're not cool. So I want to be different. So punk was really different. You know, and that's how I got into it, and that's what I've always liked. You know, my father used to probably make fun of me a lot when I was a kid, you know, because he was like, why? My mom passed away when I was young. I was like 6. My grandma raised me. So he'd always tell my grandma, why does Angel listen to that? Why does he look like that? He looks weird, you know what I mean? Why is, you know, how come he doesn't look like this or that, you know? Listen to this, you know, like everyone else. My grandma would tell him to just leave me alone, you know? He's doing what he wants, you know? So, and even my uncles who were into what my father was into would defend me and tell him, leave him alone. He does what he does, you know what I mean? Because instead of driving, I would ride a skateboard, you know? Instead of driving the car, I'm riding a skateboard, and I'm happy, you know what I mean? I don't need to, you know? If I want to ride in the car, I'll get a ride. I don't need to drive it, you know? I'm happy on a skateboard. So, but basically that's how I got into punk, and that's why I like it, because it's different, you know? And that's what I always was different. And the first show, I seen the whole skinhead look and what they were about, and that's actually what attracted me more even was that was the look I wanted to and what I wanted to be. I liked it, their look and what they believed in, you know. And so from there on, I was a skinhead, you know. I got a summer job at 15, saved money, bought my first pair of Docs, bought my bomber jacket, suspenders, and all that, and you know, started doing that, and been doing it ever since, you know. For like it's been the last 35, 40 years, somewhere around there. I kind of lost track of time. And now I got my daughter into it. My daughter's you know, got her into it a little younger than I was. She's 14 when I got her into it. She's 19 now, and you know, we talk a lot. So I feel that she feels kind of. I can't speak on her though, but only what she told me. I feel she feels the same way, you know, and I'm happy for that. You know, pass on to another generation, just like you have fathers, sons, and all that who gangbang and all that from generation to generation. It's nice when you can pass on punk music or oi to a next generation. So that's how I got into it. Back in the day, also the reason my father would say I look like a weirdo and everything, and because I would wear khakis a lot, you know, back then, and I'd cut them off, and I'd wear 14-hole Docs, you know, so the khakis would the Docs were kind of high, and so I would cut them off just before the dock, you know what I mean, just before the boot, and my father would see me and call me a weirdo, you know, why do I look like that, you know, because. To him that's weird, you know, I don't look like everyone else, you know. And actually I remember this one time when growing up in Wilmington, of course I know a lot of people, you know, that are a lot of gang members. So I had a friend I grew up with, and you know, he would want to go out with this one girl. She had a friend, and she told him, hey, you got a friend for me? And he was like, yeah, I got a friend, you know, but he was a, you know, a gang member, you know how he dressed and everything. So he banged me. And it was I came with wearing a bomber jacket, you know, my cut off khakis and my 14-hole Docs, and she seen me and was like, oh no, no, I'm good, you know. And I was like, what the, you know what I mean? But anyways, also at the time, you know, I had a job, so I had a little money, you know, I was working. And I was gonna pay for the dates and everything. I was the one paying for the movies, for the dinner, all that, for all of us. You know what I mean? That was also why my friend wanted to bring me, because I had the job. But you know, so when she found out, like, oh, he has money. You know, he has a little money. You know, she's like, oh yeah, tell him I'll go out with him. I like to go out with him. I told my friend, well, it's changed. You know, I haven't changed from the last week or the month before. I still look the same and everything. But she found something else out that tell her I'm good. I'm not. I'm good. I don't want to. But so yeah, it's and the whole skateboard thing. Yeah, and my dad was thinking, oh, I'm weird because I'm driving a skateboard. It's like, you know. Actually, I always told him, to me, in my eyes, you're the one that weird. It's weird because you look like everyone else. You're just following a trend. It's like if you try to do something different, people are gonna look at you weird, and you're afraid of that. You're afraid they're gonna be like, oh, they're looking at you a certain way because you don't look like everyone. But yeah, so that's how that went. It has slightly, but it hasn't a whole lot. Um, because the people still look the same as they did when it started. But it has changed a little where I go to like grindcore, for instance. I do go to grindcore shows. Like I said, I'm a skinhead though, but I do listen to within the music scene. I listen to grindcore, hardcore, punk, ska, oi. But I don't know if I like the term label, but I'm a skinhead. So, but I do listen to a lot of grindcore. But the grindcore has changed a little to me than in the past. Meaning now I see a lot of the younger kids who are into grindcore wearing baggy clothing and everything. It just looks a little different than bands that before, like Napalm Death, who when they started, um, or Bolt Thrower, or bands like that, or a band like Phobia, a smaller band. Does the whole grindcore thing seems a little different. Not I don't I'm not I wouldn't call myself grindcore, but I do go to shows and I have seen the scene over 30 years, and that looks a little different. But the punk scene, they dress the same pretty much. I haven't seen anything change except for everything's more pricey now. I mean, I when I started off, you were only able to buy your docks or your boots at certain places. You know, uh, a store would be in Hollywood or Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach, or places like that. You couldn't go everywhere and buy them. In the last few years, it's like everybody, you can go to the mall and buy a pair of docks. It's not the same quality as they were before, but they're just like everybody's wearing them. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, uh, I would I would assume it's a bad thing because the prices have went up. Quality's not the same as it was, and so. But no, overall, everything has within the scene has not really changed a whole lot in the look. The scene is different. It's not like it was. It's a lot different. It's not as violent as it was in past. You know, I go to backyard shows, not that many. I went to one yesterday to see Piss, their last show. It was Piss, Deviate State, Mad, PDW. That was a good show, good backyard show. There was seen quite a couple, well, I don't, couple of fights there last night. There wasn't that many though, but I never see them at backyard shows. Like what I mean? That was rare, is what I'm trying to say. So it wasn't, yeah, the scene is different than it was in the past. Where in the past there would have been a lot more fights on the regular. Where yesterday was just a rare occasion. So, but everything's the same, I think. Clothing wise, look wise, nothing's really changed except for, like I said, the grindcore a little. Uh, you got My point was that like oi shows, you go to oi shows, you see a lot of skinheads at oi shows. You go to a punk show, a lot of punks. Grindcore, you see a lot of grindcore. A street punk show, you see a lot of skins and punks. They don't really mix like a whole lot. You don't see different crowds at this show or that show. But me, I'm a skinhead, but I would be at all the shows, all different shows. And I'd be the only skinhead there sometimes. You know what I mean? And everybody there would be have long hair or dreadlocks or whatever. And I'd be the only skinhead there, but I would go. Meaning I'd be at grindcore shows, I'd be at a punk show, oi show, a street punk show, ska show. I'd be at all of them, a speed metal, thrash show. As long as the music was intense, and I'd be there. And So back in the day, I'd go to a lot of grindcore shows. You know, I'd be at a lot of grindcore shows and look forward to them. But these days, I don't go to many grindcore shows because it has changed a lot. It's not like it was in the in the past where the music is it's not as good to me. It's just a lot different. I'm not saying the bands are not good. It just changed. You know, I prefer going to the older grindcore shows, but there are a few that stand out to me today. Like I like the band, like I said, Haggis. You know, they were good. They stood out to me, and my I liked the band Boma too. Boma was good. You know, I liked them. You know, but my daughter, wanted me to go to a few grindcore shows with me. She's not really big in that either, but there was a few bands she wanted to see, so she would tell me, "Let's go," and I'd be, "Oh, cool, grindcore, yeah, I'm into it. Let's go." But when I got there, I was like a little disappointed because it wasn't like it was before. You know, it just was a lot different. The crowd, the whole vibe, everything was just not what it was. But the other scenes, you like I said, you find me at a thrash metal show. I go to a lot of those too because the music's really intense, and I like the intensity. And as long as there's a pit there, pretty much I like to go. But and mostly at the other shows, ska shows, traditional ska shows, oi shows, you don't really have pits really like you do other shows. Oi music is more sing along. You know what I mean? It's but I prefer going to those more than anything. Oi show, ska show. That's really what my roots are. You know what I mean? That's what I am and what I'm about. But everything else, I love punk, old school grind, mints. I don't even really know what that is, or if I'm even saying it right. My daughter told me about it first. I was like, I had to ask her, what are you saying? What is it? Because I have no idea what that is. You know what I mean? I call it grindcore, but I guess if you're calling it whatever, I can't even say the word mint or whatever it is, mint. I don't even know what that is, and if that's what you're gonna call it, I don't want to go to that show. If it's a grindcore show, I'll be there. You know what I mean? A real grindcore show, I'm gonna go. But so, yeah. Fenders was probably my favorite, my best. Just Fenders. That was. I love that place. It was really close. I grew up in Wilmington, and that's Fenders was close. You know what I mean? There was other places, of course, around in Wilmington, but Fenders for me was a spot. It was like a bus ride away, uh, 10, 15 minutes in the car. So I loved Fenders. A lot of shows there. I can't even count how many shows I've been there. I can't say if it was in the hundreds or the thousands, but I've been to a lot of shows there. Seen everybody there. Everyone played there, touring, local. It was just Fenders. Those were good times, but that's hasn't been there in years. That's been gone. The Olympic Auditorium, LA was another one. There are a lot of good bands there, good shows. That place is gone. Even it's been gone. Balboa Theater, that was another one, good one. A lot of shows there. That was another favorite spot of mine. Anti Club, that was in Hollywood. A lot of good shows. Coconut Teaser. Actually, back in the day, the Roxy used to have a lot of good shows. More shows than they do now. The Whiskey A Go Go also had a lot of good shows there. But Filipino Hall, Wilmington, had good shows also for a while there. And actually, my friend had a spot in the '90s called the PCH Club. That was in Wilmington. They had a lot of good shows there, a lot of hardcore shows there, a lot of good ones, you know. And that was a really good spot. My friend Alex, his brother Pete, they used to, my friend Alex and Pete actually had a lot of good parties in his backyard. He used to throw parties in his backyard. That was a good spot to go to. But overall, my spot was Fenders. It was just that was the spot. And I'm sure there's a lot of clubs I didn't mention, I forgot, and can't think of at the moment. But once again, my memory is not as good as it was, But Fenders has to be just that was my place right there. A lot of people didn't like it because it was violent, a lot of violence there. It was violence from the times, but also the club was violent. But a lot of gangs there, a lot of punk skinhead gangs. But I have to say I didn't really have a problem with it. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess I had my share of incidents just like anyone else, but I might have had less than other people, so maybe that's why I liked it so much. And I never really had a problem with a lot of people or crews. You know what I mean? Unless they were Nazis, then it was an issue. But if they weren't Nazis, I mean, so I think Fenders overall was my spot. Um, at the time, it was a lot of suicidal gang. They were pretty back in the '80s. They were pretty deep. And they used to go at it a lot with skinheads. Mostly it was Nazis, though. You know what I mean? It wasn't really sharp. You know what I mean? But it was a lot of Nazis, suicidals. Just to mention, a lot of at Fenders at one time there were a lot of Nazis that would go. A lot of Nazis would show up there. P-Nice Skins from Orange County would show up there a lot. Hammer Skins, mostly from Orange County, though. You know what I mean? But they would show up a lot, and you had other uh, crews there. You had Long Beach Suicidals, South Bay Skins, La Mirada Punks, Lads. You know what I mean? LA Death Squad. Those were a lot of gangs from the '80s. That were around. Circle One, Family Skins. But my crew was Harbor Area Skinheads. But I really I didn't have a problem with a lot of crews, so or very many. You know what I mean? I was mostly watching a lot of them go at it. You know what I mean? I didn't really suicidals. I had a few incidents with them, but overall, I was pretty much. I mean, I was always I don't know. I just got along with everybody. You know what I mean? And I didn't disrespect any crew, and they didn't disrespect me. So I was always pretty much good. But back then, you would have to also be careful too. Going to shows, you would have to either roll with the crew or definitely you couldn't go to the show. You know what I mean? Because there would be other crews there that you didn't get along with, or just. But those were still the best days always. You know what I mean? The '80s were the best. You know what I mean? That was when the scene was young. Everything was new. Uh, the music was new. Everything was just. You know what I mean? It was just better for me. It was better. Not that it's not better today. It's good today, and I love going to shows today. You know what I mean? Really, I don't roll with the crew anymore. Roll by myself with my daughter, and so. And I don't know if I'd been able to do that back in the day, a lot. Roll by myself or roll with my daughter. Even though my crew, we weren't going at it with other crews or always but there were a few times when I probably couldn't roll the shows alone. Had to have somebody with me, whatever is going to jump off or whatever doesn't, just got to be ready. But so I think, those were my times back then, and I wouldn't want to change them for anything, but I really enjoy the times today because I'm able to go with my daughter to shows. I don't think I could do that back then. It would have been a little risky, or maybe to some places, but Fenders, I don't know if I would have took her, just me and her. It would have been, could have been very risky, a lot of violence there. But so today is a lot better times for the kids to enjoy the show. They can go to a show and enjoy it without all the problems. Like I said yesterday, the show I went to, there was a few fights, but it was just individual people. It really wasn't, you know what I mean? Nothing that was going to stop the show or nothing crazy, and that was kind of rare. I was actually surprised of that because you don't really see that no more. I mean, I've been to numerous shows that I can count in the last few years. I mean, hundreds probably, where I haven't seen a lot of violence, you know what I mean? And that's very good. I bumped into a friend of mine that I didn't see for a while. That there was a club called the Country Club, and a lot of bands that would tour would play Fenders one day and play the Country Club the next day. It could be a Motorhead, or it could be a band like Destruction, a thrash band, or a band like Cro-Mags that would play Fenders on Friday, and then Saturday they'd play the Country Club. My friend wouldn't go to the Fender show because he wanted to go, of course, just for the show, for the bands. And just you couldn't do that a lot because there was something, crews would get it, go at it, show would stop, or just a lot of Nazis. It was hard to enjoy the show. A lot of violence, so he would prefer not to go to Fenders, and he'd wait for the following day and go to Country Club. Me, I'd go to the Fender show because it was closer, easier to get to. I liked it, and sometimes I'd get lucky and go with him to the Country Club too. Go to both shows, you know what I mean? But yeah, so I might have took my daughter to Country Club and not Defenders. The reason I became a skinhead because, like I said, I like the style, what they believe in, um, just the whole movement of everybody got along, being working class, working for a living, working Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, and come to the weekend, go to a show, have a good time. That I just like the whole style, the way it looked, the boots, suspenders, jeans, bomber jacket, Fred Perry's, just the whole look. It looked really neat, smart, clean, proper. Um, just it looked, the dress was really, really proper. You know what I mean? I liked it, and liked the whole skinhead attitude. I like the music a lot. What it stands for, what it's about. Um, but then the whole gang thing was well, actually, it's the whole Nazi thing. You know what I mean? That kind of that's the dark side of it, I guess. You know what I mean? It was kind of hard being a skinhead in the 80s and 90s, especially when you have all these TV shows talking about if you're a skinhead, you're a racist. That was kind of hard. It was now today. I think it's a lot easier being a skinhead because being a skinhead from the 80s to now, it feels a lot different. I don't really get the looks, um, the arguments, people, you know what I mean, telling me this or that, you know. It was really hard being a skinhead in the 80s. Everybody thinks you're a Nazi, you're a racist. Um, you're Mexican, how can you be a skinhead? You know what I mean? I get that, I would get that a lot. I don't get that so much no more, you know what I mean? And so those were rough times. But I always liked the whole skinhead thing a lot better than I guess the punk, you know what I mean? The punk, nothing wrong with it. Music is great, love it. Um, but actually, even today's punk, I think, is a lot different than the punk of the 80s, you know what I mean? Most punks now are not the same where I guess times have changed where you gotta work, you know what I mean? You gotta be working class, you know. I got a lot of friends that are punks and they work hard, you know what I mean? Work, Monday through Friday. Same thing, I guess, as a skinhead, come the weekend, go to a show. But I got into skinhead, like I said, I liked the look and what they stood for. The whole unity, the whole thing, everybody got along, you know. And if you're a skinhead, you could go anywhere and make friends, you're welcome pretty much, don't matter city, town, you know, meet friends everywhere. That's what I liked about it. It was kind of it was a thing kind of in the process already, when I came in it. But there wasn't that many of us, so there was about 10, maybe 15 of us at the height, and I want to say it lasted a few years. It wasn't that long. It was about maybe 2 or 3 years. There was about 15 of us. Then as time went on, you know, uh, there wasn't as many of us. And actually, there's not that many of us anymore at all. And I want to say I'm the last one from that crew. You know what I mean? That's around still, and that I know of going to shows. I still talk to some of them. They're not skinheads no more. But I got into it probably. There was just a lot of crews. You know what I mean? And I had to get a crew. 'Cause can go to shows alone. You know, like I said, they go to a show alone. Sometimes it just wasn't happening. You know what I mean? Even if you didn't have a problem with somebody, you know, you had to go with the crew. You know, that's how it was in the '80s a lot. You really couldn't be going alone. You know, times are different today. They're better to me. Scene is way, scene in that point is a way better than it was. But yeah, I had to start a crew, you know, in order kind of to survive, you could say, in the scene back then. That's how the Harbor Skinheads came about. Yeah, the Restyle. When I bought my first pair of Docs, was at the Restyle. I forgot what city. I think it was Redondo Beach or Hermosa, borderline, something like that. But I think I paid like $50, 60 maybe, for 14-hole steel toes, and you couldn't get them at the mall. They weren't sold at the mall. And if you were wearing Docs, you were a punker, you were a skinhead, you had something to do with the scene. Because today, Docs are everywhere. People are just, people that know nothing of Docs and of the scene wear them, you know what I mean? Could buy them at a mall. I think you could probably buy them at a liquor store if they sell shoes these days. You know what I mean? They're just everywhere, you know what I mean? And colored hair too. You know, if your hair was pink, purple, blue, you pretty much you were a punk. Nowadays, people with purple, pink hair wearing Docs don't know what the exploited are. Don't even know what punk is. They have no idea what it is. That's just a fad now, you know. Dye your hair this color, that hair, and wear Docs, you know, and a flight jacket. They have no idea what the scene was. But back in the '80s, if you were wearing any of those items, yeah, you were a punk, a skinhead, or something to do with the scene. You know what I mean? And you couldn't buy Docs anywhere. That was for sure. They were cheap and they were better quality. You know, and you could get steel toes. You can't get them today. You know, when I buy a pair of Docs today, I believe I'm paying like, oh man, last pair of Docs I bought was like 250. Paid 250 for them compared to 50 my first pair. You know what I mean? And you can't even get steel toe. You know, and I usually will order mine online. I went to a Doc Martin store and they were all from Japan, the Docs. You know, they weren't even made in England, so I usually order mine online. That's how I get mine these days. Recently, me and my daughter have bought tickets for the show No Values with the Misfits, Cro-Mags, Selector, Hepcat. I talked to quite a few people yesterday, and they're going to it. And it's a very expensive show, though. I think it's like we got tickets, 2 tickets. We paid 500 for 2 tickets, and I want to say pretty much all those bands on there. There's probably like 30 bands, I think, 35 bands. I've seen them all for like $5. Those bands, each band, I paid $5 for. You know what I mean? It's in for them, and I'm gonna go pay 250 for them now. But the reason I'm doing that is because my daughter wasn't around to see them for $5, like I've seen them. And it's actually one of them is the Misfits. I want her to see the Misfits. It's the original lineup for the Misfits. I paid $5 for them when I seen them, you know, and the bill was stacked. You know, like a lot of good bands. And so we're going to this and paying this price because I want her to see them. You know, the original lineup even. You don't see that much these days. A band you might see these days who's been around for a while could be anybody, you know, could be Exploited, for instance. I seen Exploited, the first time I seen them was probably in '84, maybe, around there, you know what I mean? I seen them. And Waddy's the only original member now, you know what I mean? He's still doing it, you know? So she got to see Exploited, but not the original lineup. So bands like that change the lineups all through the years. But to see the Misfits now with the original lineup, she's going to really enjoy them. And I'm happy for that. So it's just kind of crazy, kind of ironic that I'm 30 years later, 40 years later, I'm paying $250, you know what I mean, to go to a show, you know? And I've seen all those bands for $5 and seen them a lot. I can't even count the times I've seen the Misfits. It might be 10, 15, 20, I don't know, I've lost count, you know, but I've seen them a lot of times. and very, very cheap, But I'm going for her so she could see them. It's gonna be a good show, and so that's why we're going. But um, the Dead Kennedys was my first show, and the Dead Kennedys I seen them recently, a couple of years ago. Wasn't the same. It was good though. The band didn't have the same energy really. It just it was good, but I don't know, it just wasn't the same. When the first time I seen them in '83, but my daughter enjoyed it, so it made it good, and it was a real good show. Recently, we seen Black Flag, that wasn't the same even. You know what I mean? When I seen Black Flag, Henry Rollins was singing from. Now that was the show. It's a very good show. You know what I mean? That was Black Flag. Now it's like, I don't know. It's a band that call themselves Black Flag, playing Black Flag songs, but just not the same thing, as it was when I seen them, back in the early '80s. But I don't know. The scene, just it's good, but it's not the same. The bands, you know what I mean? They changed through the years, and just not the same as it was. But I want to comment on other bands. Actually, bands I've been listening to a lot lately. They're not around anymore, but they're still fairly new, I guess, to other people. Where bands like The Choice, an Oi band, actually my friend's band Lou. He played in The Choice, Bobber Wonderland. Lately I've been listening to a lot of that for some reason. Tough Skins. Those are Oi bands. You know what I mean? Been listening to a lot of that lately. But I'm really looking forward to LA Punk Invasion. That's coming up in 2025 though. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I'm really looking for that. A lot of Oi bands on that. I'm looking forward to seeing the Skin Flicks. First time they're going to be here playing in the U.S. It might be the last time, That's a good Oi band. That's like a band I was talking about earlier that they're not Nazis, and they're not sharps. You know what I mean? They're just a skinhead band, a good skinhead band that want the politics out of the scene. I'm looking forward to seeing them. I'm actually going to go see Castillo next week at First Street, and I'm looking forward to that. They're a good up and coming Oi band. They do a lot of shows. Other Oi bands, I guess, Brooks, gonna see them next week. Also going to go see a band called Rally Cry, Jenny Wu. I've probably been listening to more Oi, these days than anything. Although I've been listening to throughout the years Oi, but more so lately because I'm trying to get my daughter into Oi more than anything. She's into hardcore more, punk, a lot of Youth of Today, straight edge, Gorilla Biscuits, all that. But I'm trying to get her into Oi, Oi. But she, that's good stuff too. You know what I mean? I actually remember seeing Gorilla Biscuits, Youth of Today at Fenders. I seen them for it's probably like $8, $10, I think. I don't remember what it was. Those were good shows. You know what I mean? When you would see Oi Fest, Straight Edge Fest without, just all straight edge bands, and I see Straight Edge is coming back. We're going to go see Youth of Today. They're doing a show in a couple of months with Side by Side. That's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward my daughter to see that. Some good old hardcore, That's real hardcore right there, Gorilla Biscuits with some good stuff, you know what I mean? They just played a few months ago. We missed them. I was going to another show. I forgot what show was that. What show was that we're going to see? When Gorilla Biscuits played? That was a few months ago. I wanted to see them, but missed that because we went to another show. Do you remember what show that was? What show was it?
It was at the Garden App. It was last year. It was
okay.
I think it was I don't know. It was the Suburban Scum.
Oh, okay.
I think it was one of those gigs, and that dude from TBA did the flyer.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if DV State played one of those days.
I think yeah.
But yeah, I think you're talking about that one.
Yeah, we missed it, but yeah, I wish we would have seen it. It was kind of pricey though. You know what I mean? like $60, I think, to see Gorilla Biscuits, and I was like, I seen them for, like I said, $5, $10, and so, then we were going to something else. Well, actually, I started collecting records in the early '80s, and I had a lot of records. I can't even begin to count them. Probably 1,000, 1,500, who knows, maybe more. But I had a lot of records and first pressings. You know what I mean? Like original stuff. You know what I mean? That you can't get or worth money today. And the reason I say this is the first record I got online again is because I'll just say all through the years, moving a few times and a few situations that was not under my control, stuff got tossed. You know what I mean? And it's like my stuff got, you know what I mean? It's gone. So I had to start all over collecting records again. And I can't always buy the first pressing no more because they're just more expensive now. When I bought records before, I think I paid like $5 for a first pressing record. You know what I mean? Brand new in a package still. And I would have the CD and the record, or two records of the same one. So one I wouldn't open to save, and the other one I listen to. But can't buy the first pressing of stuff now. It's just $5 first pressing before in the '80s. Now if I want that first pressing, let's say for Black Flag or a band like Madball or anything, first pressing could be $80, $100. Can't afford to pay that no more. You know what I mean? For just a record. When I had that original record, paid $5 for. You know what I mean? So I still collect records now, but it's not always first pressing. So, but I still enjoy collecting them because I enjoy vinyl. You know what I mean? And even though I can't take them with me, as the older I get, like I said, I don't know when I'm not going to be able to collect vinyl no more. I don't know when I'm not going to go to shows no more. Who knows when it'll be? You know what I mean? Hopefully I can go to shows till I'm 100. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've been going to shows since I was 15. I'm 55 now. That's a lot of years right there. That's what about 35, 40 years, something like that. Yeah, 40 years. I've been going to shows, and who knows how much longer. So that's why I go as many shows as I can. Take my daughter with me or my son, and sometimes they're a little overpriced, I feel, you know what I mean? Because, like I said, I've been to shows for $5. Better lineups than some of the lineups I'm seeing today and paying, maybe $100 for that. Maybe more, but I do it because who knows when I won't be able to go no more. And this was what I love to do. It's what I want to always do. Just go to shows, hang out, and even if I'm not going to pit like I was at one time, if I'm just hanging out, I love going there, talking to people, just listening to the music, the bands, just being around the scene, the atmosphere, the whole vibe. Everything is it's kind of what I live for. You know what I mean? If I ain't able to do that, let's say 5 years from now, what am I gonna do? Life is gonna change. You know what I mean? It's like, wow, I've been doing this for 40, 45 years. Now I can't do it no more. But when my daughter goes in the pit, she goes in for me. So you know what I mean? Can't do it no more, so she's doing it for me. But yeah, so basically that's why I buy vinyl too. I love doing it, even if I can't get what I had before in first pressing of a band that I had a first pressing for and paid $5. Now I gotta pay more. I'll just buy a second pressing or whatever. But a lot of the newer bands coming out, Piss that was out, or whoever it is, Mad or any other band that's new, putting demos out like Still Pissed if it's a demo. Dogface Bastards if it's a demo, and I got it now, or the first record they put out, that's first pressing, so I feel good about getting those records. You know what I mean? Because I can't get the first pressing of a band like the Subhumans, which I had, and it's gone now. You know what I mean? One day I'll tell the story of how all my stuff got lost, but that's another time. I don't want to say now. It's a funny story, but it's not. I don't want to say it now. But I'll say it another time. But so, all right, yeah, that's all I had to say on that one. Right now, actually, Castillo. I enjoy. I really look forward to seeing a lot of new upcoming Oi bands. the oi scene seems to be coming back, and I enjoy. I'm really looking forward to Castillo. Um, what's another good one I want to see? Jenny Wu. I'm looking forward to seeing her. Rally Cry is a good band. They're a small band. You know, I'm waiting for them to put something out. It's kind of disappointing to see Piss. You know what I mean? Not do shows no more, and you know, I was enjoyed them a lot. You know what I mean? And it would have been nice if they would have put some, you know, records out. You know, that would have been awesome. Mad too. You know, those that was oh man, I really love those guys a lot. That's disappointing that they ain't gonna really be doing too many shows. You know. So, but I'm looking forward to a lot of the up and coming oi stuff. You know, a lot of the smaller oi bands and bigger oi bands. But oi music is probably what where I'm at right now. What I'm pretty much into more, except for smaller backyard bands I like a lot. I actually just did want to give a shout out to Lou. You know, Lou Guzman. You know his new band Bomber. Hope they do well. And want to give another shout out again to Gonzo, to Stan Corona, to Renee. Um, and I also want to give a shout out to Castillo. Actually, I want to give a shout out to Criminal Outfit, a oi band that was out of Long Beach that are no longer together. And I really like those guys a lot, man. I really love that band, Criminal Outfit. And Ditch, the lead singer of the band, I really want to shout out to him. And he's up in Oakland now, and hopefully it goes all well for him. And I heard he's trying to start a new band out there, and hopefully we get the name soon. And I would like to also give a shout out to Skylar. I just seen yesterday at the Piss show. Haven't seen him in a while. It was real good to see Skylar, so really want to give a shout out to him. Definitely Norman. Can't forget Norman. You know, I know Norman since we were kids, and so I want to give a shout out to him and to Ritter and Armistice, and just give a shout out to all skinheads and poop boys, you know, out there, and you know, hopefully they stay strong. Oh, definitely. If you've been listening, been listening this long, I definitely want to give a shout out to you and appreciate your time, and for you listening to me ramble and babble on. Appreciate it.